Hey, Shalom, child of God. My name is MOGmusic. There's something I discovered in the Bible whilst I was doing my study, and it's just dawning on me to share what I learned with you today. The video is going to be a little bit lengthy, but I pray that God gives you grace to stay with me till the end. When you read the book of 1 Samuel, it starts by telling us about Hannah in the house of Elkanah, who was the wife to Elkanah. And actually, Elkanah had two wives, and the other wife, Peninnah, had children, but Hannah didn't have children, which was very worrying for Hannah. And anytime they went to Shiloh, that was a prayer that God should bless her to have the fruit of the womb. So there was this time they went there, and Hannah really went out and prayed her heart out. And the prophet Eli heard her praying, and she made a vow that when God blesses her with a child, she'll give the child back to God. So fast forward, God honors Hannah's request and blesses Hannah with a child called Samuel. And then Hannah also honors her vow and brings the child back to God for Eli, the prophet, to train. Now, Samuel was under the tutorship of Eli all his life, and Eli trained him to become a prophet and everything. And what really struck me is when it got to the place where Samuel was now learning how to hear God's voice. He was lying down and he heard a voice saying, Samuel. He thought it was Eli. He got up, went to Eli for the first time. Eli said, it's not me. Then he went back to sleep. The voice came again, Samuel. He went back to Eli. And then Eli said, it's not me. Came back to sleep again. The third time, he went back to Eli. Then Eli said, when you hear the voice, say, speak, for thy servant heareth. The key to hearing the voice of God was in the voice, or was in the hands of Eli. And Eli was the one that released Samuel for Samuel to be able to hear God's voice in order for God to give further instructions to him. So when he went to lie down again, God now came back and asked Samuel, and he said, speak, for thy servant heareth. And the first prophetic word, this is where it really struck me, the first prophetic word that came was a prophecy against the one that trained him to become a prophet. The first word that he heard was not like, oh, Samuel, you are not a prophet, you can hear and all that. God was straight to the point. He gave him a word for the man who trained him to become a prophet, under whom he was trained. And when you read the Bible said that Samuel was afraid to tell Eli. But Eli told him to go ahead and tell him, and if not, times two of that should come upon him. And now Samuel opened up to tell Eli what God told him. And this is what I learned. There's this vision that God has given you, and you are afraid to process it. There's this dream that God has given you, and you're always living in fear. You are afraid to start the business. You are afraid to start the ministry. You are afraid to enter the marriage. You are afraid to commit yourself. You are afraid. There's this fear that is gripping you. But God showed you a vivid vision, just like he gave to Samuel when he spoke to him. Bible said that when he told Samuel that Eli is going to die, his children are going to die, he's about to do something in Israel, that any ear that hears it will tingle. This was not a good prophecy to deliver. It was something that brought fear to him. This is the Lord of hosts telling you this, that the very man who taught you the prophetic is going to die. I'm going to kill him. And whatever I've said about the house of Eli, I'm going to do it. And how do you deliver this message? Fear gripped him. And the reason why some of you have allowed fear to grip you is for the fact that you are, what's the word? You are afraid of the unknown. That's what I'm looking for. You are afraid of the unknown. You are afraid of what people will say. You are afraid, what if it doesn't work? You are afraid, what if I saw was just a fiction? But tonight I have come to tell you that don't allow fear to grip your heart. Because once you saw it, listen, if God had no business of revealing what he had to reveal to you in that time, in that season, he wouldn't have taking all the time out of his busy schedule to come and release that vision to you. He knew that it was time for you to move. He knew that it was time for you to take action. That is why he gave you that vision. That's why he gave you that dream. That is why, he gave you that zeal. So whatever is stopping you, the only thing that is stopping you is yourself. You may ask yourself that, where are the things that I will need to work with? Because this vision that God has given me, I will need A, B, C, D. All you need to do is to start, and the provision will start coming in. Some of the things you just need to start. You just need to start. You just need to have the faith to take the first step, and the provision will start coming in. When you read the Bible, Eli taught Samuel how to hear the voice of God. And once he taught Samuel didn't need Eli to come teach him again. It was once and for all. And that same Eli that was in his life at a point in time disappeared, or he died. Can I suggest to you, there are certain mentors that God has brought your way. They are not going to stay forever. There are certain people that God has brought your way. They are not going to be in your life forever. So if there are things you need to learn from these people, take advantage to learn now, and don't allow procrastination to delay you from your miracle. Because when you miss the opportunity from hearing those words you need to hear from your mentor, or from that dear friend, or from that brother who is close to you now, when you miss the opportunity, there is no way you're going to get that opportunity again, unless the hand of God intervenes, right? So Samuel was able to hear the voice of the Lord with the help of Eli, and then Eli passed away. And moving on, that was it. Samuel was able to hear God's voice over and over and over again. But when fear gripped him, he had took away the fear and told Eli exactly what God said, and God's word came to pass. So don't allow fear to stop you from what God has given to you. Don't allow fear to limit you. Today I encourage you to step out and do exactly what God has told you. I encourage you to step out, and step out in faith, step out in confidence, step out with the understanding that he who has begun a good work in you shall surely watch it unto completion, until the day of Jesus Christ. God bless you. Share this with